Hello, CFA Nation, Gabe,
Nick,
and we are here today to bring you guys a special episode of Cricket
Cricket
Convo.
Convos.
And Nick, can you tell everybody what we're going to be having a combo about?
We're gonna convo the India tour of England that just finished up. Yes, we know about what, like a week ago or so. Late to the party here, but we had a request. Gabe and talk about want to do this anyways, and we got to talk about this series. This series had ups and downs. You can tell I'm wearing the CFA hat. I'm not wearing my India hat because I still root for England as well. So it's really tough for me with these tours, with these series. I usually root for the team that kind of needs it the most. And they both kind of needed this series, to tell you the truth. We know the state of England cricket, right? But India cricket has not been, even though they've been winning so many T20s in a row since the World Cup, they had a tough tour in South Africa.
Right.
They keep going back and forth with captains. They didn't have the best tour in India against South Africa for those 4 T20s or whatever. So it was a little tough for India as well coming into this. And we're going to be talking about this, impressions we had, thoughts we had. If we forgot something, let us know in the comment section. Don't forget also to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so yet. And if you respond to us, we will probably more than likely respond to you. But with this tour, it starts off quite interestingly because we start with the 5th test, right? Continuation from the test that got postponed earlier on. I think it was this year, several months ago. And we start with the 5th test. We see some of the baseball. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. So, Gabe, I'm going to let you start off. Say hello to your fans, first of all, and then your thoughts on the test.
So, first and foremost, I was just thinking about complete random thought. Do you remember the very first name you wanted to name our our first YouTube channel? Again, Boring Reviews. For those of you that don't follow some Boring Reviews, go ahead and check it out over there. We do a lot of film review, a lot of video reviews. Obviously, Nick's a bigger presence there than myself. But you remember what the first name was? And you're like, oh man, it's taken.
Besides Boring Reviews?
Yes.
Um,
You just
no.
said it earlier. Late to the party. He's like, man, our channel's late to the party because we're always late to the party. You know what I mean? But
It's a big channel, yeah.
it is what it is. It is what it is. They have their own channel as well. A lot of good content there. But yeah, we got to see the introduction of baseball, at least to us in this series. And we only caught snippets of it. Again, the timing of it being a test match, 5 days. But what we did see was the aggressiveness, right? The playing positive shots, right? And I think that
Absolutely.
guys like a Johnny Bairstow specifically, who was man of the match, right? Of that 5th test match, it really helps them because it puts them in a position where they're not playing defensively, they're not playing to defend their score, they're playing to go out there and win. And to your point, even though India put up a big score, I think England's old mentality would be under Silverwood, all right, let's just draw this match out. You know what I mean? It was what, 300-400. Let's just draw this thing out. No, 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 no. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna put up a big total. We're gonna chase this thing down, and it's aggressive, and I love it. Now I like it from being an outside observer because I'm not neither a fan of England or of India, so I could look at both teams objectively and say there were some good things, there were some bad things, right? And positives for England, they chased down that huge score, and again, the mentality changed. It was a thing of beauty watching them chase down that huge score and seeing Bairstow put up 106 in that first innings, and then in the second innings putting up another century, so double tons for him in that match. And Joe Root, of course, 142, and we've come to expect that from Joe Root. Okay, we've come to expect that from Joe Root, and honestly, even the opening, which was not good in that first innings, not at all, Nick. And
They showed up finally in one of the innings.
finally showed up in that second innings. First innings, same old England. Zach Crowley out on 17 balls for nine runs, and Alex Lee 6 for 9. But in the second innings, oh boy, they both put up 50? No, 56 for Alex
It's a
Lee.
100 partnership at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 100 partnership, almost 100 partnership, and then 46 for Zach Crowley. So if England's figured out their opening partnership, and then they've got Joe Root and Bairstow, I mean, it's gonna be strong. All right, Nick. Now the poor side, and dude, I mean, it's England's bowling, and honestly, dude, you got guys getting absolutely hammered out there in that first inning, absolutely getting hammered out there. And as much as I love Jimmy and Broad, specifically Jimmy Anderson, he's my guy or whatever. 5 wicket haul in the first in the first innings. Stuart Broad got pumped, bro, for 89 runs, only a wicket. Potts, all right, Matty Potts got himself 2 wickets, but at the cost of 105 runs, Nick. Not good. Not good. Jack Leach is Jack Leach. England cannot produce a spinner. Ajak, where's Ajak? Get him on the phone. Don't we know a couple spinners? Listen, if anything, England can easily go claim a spinner from like Sri Lanka or something. Or you know what I mean? Like, listen, they got to have some English heritage somewhere. If they've been known to do it before, go looking in the minor leagues or what we like to say the feeder teams or whatnot. Team USA has some pretty good spinners. Just saying, because Jack Leach can't get it done, and before him, Don Best couldn't get it done. England's spinners are terrible, Nick, terrible, and that basketball ain't changed that. On the India side, all right, India again put up a huge total in that first over, right? The first innings, I should say, in that first huge total. You got Pant going ham for 146 runs. You got Jadeja a buck 06. I mean a buck 04, putting in work. Two things that was glaring to me. Kohli still struggling, bro. 11 runs on 19 balls. And guess who dismissed Kohli? That's right, Potts. Holy cow, the guy that was getting lit up by everybody. Really? You lose your wicket to that guy? Come on. You're better than that, Bharat. You're better than that. And, the bowling, Bumrah is an absolute savage, right? 3-wicket haul in the second innings there. He got himself a little bit of help from Shami and Siraj. But I think it's time to ask Lord Thakor, man, in 7 overs, Nick, 690 economy rate, almost a 7 economy rate for Lord Siraj. And Lord Siraj has not been good. 11 overs, another 6 economy rate in the second innings there. Not Lord Siraj, sorry, Lord Thakor. And
Siraj got 4 wickets.
No wickets, wicket-less in that second over. He was overall, I would say, the worst bowler if you combine the entire test match. Maybe it's time to replace Lord Thakor and get some new blood in there. But those are my thoughts on this match. And anything you want to add there, my friend?
First of all, you don't bring in Lord Thakor to put on the white shirt in test to bowl. You bring him for the bat, baby, because this guy's going to be hitting some half centuries left and right. What was that, like 3 out of 4 at one point? That was awesome. This test match was very, very interesting because India had it in hand. And then especially with their test team, their biggest weakness, even more than a weak tail end, is not being able to get those big wickets. You talk about Bumrah getting the only 2 wickets in the second innings. The other one was on a run out, so you got a gift right there, right? Moeen Ali? No, it wasn't him. But the 2 wickets that Bumrah got were back-to-back. He was on a hat trick, for crying out loud. And then after that, it was like the 17th, 18th over, nothing. You can't get anything. The wickets completely dried up. And England was able to be tenacious. That partnership of Root and Bairstow, that's one of the things that if you're there with your son or you are a kid or whatever, and you're watching that, it's a special moment for England fans to witness that partnership on that day. Because even I'm sitting here watching it, I was rooting for India, and I'm like, man, this is a thing of beauty. And I was saying early on, you got to break up this partnership. You got to do it. Doesn't make me a genius. It's just one of those things that had to happen, and it didn't happen. And England, the riding high, they didn't have any tests in the Netherlands. They had ODI, but they swept New Zealand in the 3 tests they played against them with Bosball. And all this stuff is coming off of the ashes of what happened last year. So huge win for England. Disappointing loss for India, but India still tied it 2-2. And Jihan told me that the last time India was there, they were like 1 for 4 or 1 and 3 or something like that. So a huge improvement for India that way, but they were leading this 2-1 in the series. They had this match. They could have got out of England 3-1, but it is what it is. Getting to the limited over format series, 3 ODIs, 3 T20s. Let me tell you my very first impression about wrapping the entire thing up. And this isn't going to be the only thing I say, but the very first thing I think of is how India's bowling dominated. Do you realize they bowled out England 5 of the 6 times? We're talking about the T20 matches, my friend. bowled them out, for crying out loud. And I want to double check, because just saying it just makes me feel so weird. There's no way. But yes, except for that third T20 match, they bowled out the first two, and then they bowled out all the ODIs from England. England was able to win one T20 match, one ODI match. They had 57 wickets India took to England's 40 that they took. Their bowling was just outrageous, and it was different guys getting 4-wicket hauls. Hardik Pandya got it twice. Chahal got it once. He got a 3-wicket haul, almost got it twice. Boomer got a 6-wicket haul, for crying out loud, right? And I know I'm missing out on someone else, but all these 4-wicket hauls, 5-wicket hauls, or whatever, and unless your name's Topley, for crying out loud, because that guy lost his mind for England with his 13 wickets in the 4 or 5 matches he played in, England didn't have anyone else that was dominant besides your man, Hans Idol. Chris Jordan did get himself a 4-wicket haul in one of the T20 matches. Didn't really show up the other 2 matches, but Gleason got a 3-wicket haul. But that's my first thought. India's bowling just took charge. And Bhuvi also had a great match, for crying out loud. You got guys like Bhuvi and Bumrah taking, I think, 9 of the 10 wickets in one match. Yes, I'll take that. Then, we'll throw some Shami in there. He'll get 3 wickets for crying. Oh, Chahal, you want to play too? I mean, it's just the bowlers showed up. They were able to dominate in England against England there on their home grounds. And as good as the England fan is feeling, the Barmy Army is feeling after that test match, the other ones, it's just like, we can't look. We just can't look. I mean, that first ODI match, for crying out loud, they won by 10 wickets. They chased him in the 19th over. It was an ODI match. They bowled him out in the 26th over.
Ugly. Well, I believe that it was the one that was like rain shortened or something like that. And
you know what? I don't know too much about that. All I know is Roy Duck. What else is new, right? Root Duck, Stokes Duck, Livingston Duck, Bairstow 7. That was the match where your leading scorer, the only time it happened in the 6 matches he captained, was your captain, Josh Butler. And I'm not against Josh Butler. I'm a fan of Josh Butler. I'm rooting for him all the way, but he did not, and I'm probably stealing some of your thunder, he did not have a great debut as a captain for the ODI and the T20 series. It wasn't looking good. He had a 60 in there, and then he had 3 performances less than 5 or less runs.
Let me tell you something, Nick.
Caramba.
Foremost, my initial thoughts, really, really simple. Baz captains the test side, right? The white ball side is captain. Who's the other? I can't remember the name of the captain for the white ball side. I'm sure Nick could look that up for us and let us know. But with that being said, is this guy needs to be replaced first and foremost, because it's bad. It is bad. Y'all got to beg Baz to go over to the white ball side, because again, England absolutely.
Matthew Mott.
Right. They did. I remember the chat. They let us know.
He disappointed back in May, so he ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Bro, it's ugly.
It's
ugly. And not only is it ugly, I think that and to the first thoughts are, we recently did a video on Owen Morgan, right, Nick? And when we did this video on Owen Morgan, he talked about him being the captain of the white ball team, right, the ODI team. And before they won that the ODI championship, and what was that, 2019? It was like a journey from 2015 to 2019, but it took commitment to the white ball side. It took making sure that there was a plan. And he said, when I got there and in 2015, and we absolutely get embarrassed, it was like, so what? Like, they didn't even care. They weren't prepared. And he mentions how that would never have happened if it was the Ashes, if it was Test. And I think we're back to that. Because explain to me, Nick, why is Baz only coaching the white ball side, the Test side, and not the white ball side? You know what I mean? Like, why are you not giving both facets of the game, limited overs and Test, an equal level of importance? Not just that, okay, Bairstow is a monster. That's what we came to learn of Johnny Bairstow. People used to tell us Bairstow can't play Test. He doesn't have the temperament. Well, he just showed he can play Test. And let's think about what Bairstow did. I remember the first match I watched Bairstow play. It was Ireland versus England. It was when we first started watching cricket during the pandemic, and he smashed, or is it Ireland? He smashed.
Ireland?
All right, and I was like, man, this guy's amazing. Gabe, he can't play test. He doesn't got the temperament, whatever. He doesn't have the patience. And I watched him, and I've had a love-hate relationship with Johnny Bairstow. He's come in and out of my Sinister Six many, many times. But again, now it seems like you're taking the best players from that side and put them on a test team. You can't tell me that he couldn't have made the trip. Boomer made the trip, right? Coley made the trip. All right. All those guys are in the same place. You could have taken a bus. We just finished the test tour. So India can bring their best, but England can't. What's the message we're sending? We're telling the captain, Josh Butler, you don't matter. All right. Sorry, white ball don't matter. Seriously, what message are you sending to that team, Nick? You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, go out and do what you do, but you don't get the reinforcements India just got. We're the guys at home. It's tougher for India to be on this tour and send people from test team to the ODI team. And you're not doing it? Don't give me none of this resting policy or nothing. You're just getting priority to one format over the other. And I think that's to the detriment. First and foremost, I know people, I'm going to piss some people off. I love watching tests. But those people who don't acknowledge that the white ball game is the future of cricket, listen, I got some what do you call it, magic beans to sell you. You're gonna get a huge beanstalk and all that.
Oh, he's got a surplus of magic beans.
I got a surplus. Listen, I got an uncle who's Iranian prince. What is the Iranian prince? So where's that guy from? The emails that used to go out the mess.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You know, yeah. Something like, listen, all that good stuff. I got a magic lamp for you. All right, listen. You gotta embrace the white ball game. I don't understand what they're doing, Nick. You can't tell me that if I'm Josh Butler and I know I got to go up against honestly the gauntlet of India. We're ranked number 1 and 2 at the time of this match. India has all its bullets, but England doesn't. If I'm Josh Butler, I'm sitting out there like, really? You know what I mean? It's not okay. That's my first thought. Okay, right off. And if you're an England fan, if you're a Barmy Army fan, you've got to be upset that those reinforcements did not get there. All right.
Let me tell you why you're wrong, real quick. Real quick. All right. I love the idea of having a test coach who can focus just on tests, because if you're England, you still got the Ashes every 18 months or 2 years or whatever like that. You have other series. You got WTC. You just missed out the opportunity last time. It was at home. You got to get your test side in order. I love the fact that McCullum, he's gonna lead England as a coach. He's not even the captain on the field. They're going to have some losses under his, watch. Let's not pretend like he's not going to. But he's got a great start right there. Let him keep doing what he's doing. They brought this guy in May, for crying out loud. And I love the idea of having different coaches. Why? Because you have different captains. Stokes, let's talk about him and how he did a fantastic job. Last time he captained, when we first started watching, was against the West Indies, messed up the toss. Everyone wanted to kill the guy, right? So let's give him some credit. You know, he's backing up that ball as well. You bring in, I don't know Mott from anyone else down the street, for crying out loud, but you bring in someone else. I'm sure they feel good about it. You got a different captain. Yes, you have Joe Root on the ODI side, which I was kind of surprised about. You have some, changing of the same, or some of the same players, some different players or whatever. You got a new captain in Josh Butler. It wasn't pretty. India came in and just steamrolled him. They just outbowled him. Simple as that. They destroyed him, for crying out loud. But it was May 18th when they announced 2 months ago. You're not going to get rid of him. Let it get some traction. To your point, they are ranked number 2, I believe, now in T20, so they've got to figure that out quickly. Defending champions in ODI. But I like the idea of not spreading a McCullum too thin. Mott's got to step it up. The players got to step it up. Josh Butler, this is my biggest concern. I get it. This is his first series, and they're going to be in South Africa for like the next month and a half, for crying out loud. This is my concern about Josh Butler, is what you want to see from a captain or from a coach or anyone in charge is when you get hit in the mouth, how do you respond? They weren't able to respond. Yes, I get it. They won those rubber matches. They won one match from each one, but that means they lost 4 at home, for crying out loud.
Unacceptable.
You get punched in the mouth, how are you going to respond? But I mean, to your point, the proof's in the pudding. The pudding says doesn't look too good. I like the idea, and hopefully they can figure some things out. They just lost to South Africa today, too, in their ODI squad, so it's still not looking good.
Nick, even if that's the case, you don't want to spread McCullum thin. Okay, fine. But you're telling me that one of the best players you have, that's been one of your best players also in white ball, especially in T20, Johnny Bairstow, doesn't make the trip when he's right there in England? Come on.
I think he had prior engagements to a Harry Potter convention. I'm not going to lie.
That must be it, right? He's making his appearance as Ron Weasley. No, it's them trying to protect certain players and saying, no, we don't want him overexerting himself. We've got another tour, whatever. And listen, you've got to prioritize both sides equally. That's my point. I think they did Josh Butler a disservice. With that being said, I think Josh Butler was terrible. All right, from fielding to the bowling selection, he was just absolutely terrible. He didn't have any answers, and captaincy, bro, will make the best players buckle. As far as a batsman is concerned, I think he's one of the best in the world when it comes to white ball. Okay, but captaincy, he hasn't shown me anything, cuz he hasn't shown me not even a little bit. On the India side, Nick, I'm sorry. Again, outside observer looking in. Across pretty much the entire series, there's glaring things that we got to talk about. The first is Virat Kohli. All right, maybe he needs to just focus on one side because, man, the pressure has got to be mounting on this guy. Virat Kohli hasn't had a century in how long, Nick? He has not really. I mean,
2+
he's not
years
anymore, so he doesn't have those excuses. I'm not bashing Kohli. Okay, I like Kohli. I like his fire, but you can tell it's not the same Virat Kohli that you and I started watching. And just like Josh Butler had a nightmare of a tournament and of a series, I mean, Virat Kohli didn't have as bad as Josh Butler. Josh Butler had, what, 3 ducks? I think it was, or
1 duck, 1 4, 1 5, but still, I mean, it's not very good.
Absolutely ugly. But Virat also had a very, just a poor showing, man. And I think that for India, they've got to figure out what are they going to do? How do we get him right? Maybe it's just getting him to focus on tests. Maybe it's just getting him to slow down and regroup. Maybe it's just dropping him from all formats and giving the guy a chance to say, you come back when you're ready. Sometimes you need that, okay? But Virat is not Virat right now. I hope that he gets better. I hope that he figures it out. But, man, I honestly, I feel absolutely bad for him. My man Sky showed why he is the perfect replacement and why Sky is an unbelievable white ball player. It shouldn't have taken him as long. But honestly, Nick, when we're talking about India, there was 2 guys I was impressed with. And man, this series might have been called Gabe's wrong. He's wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong. Because I remember the Bairstow's garbage nonsense. Yeah, Bairstow's not garbage right now, is he? I'm surprised Jihan hasn't given me Hardik Pandya's garbage. Because for the 2 years when we first started watching cricket, he was garbage. All right, people, you don't know what a Hardik Pandya is. Exactly, because I haven't seen it. Nick, I've seen it. Hardik Pandya, holy smokes, this guy. And to see it in the IPL is one thing, because you're at home, favorable conditions, but now the guy's doing it on an international scale, and he's doing it on the wow. I am impressed, and I was wrong. And honestly, for white ball, it needs to be Jadeja and Hardik Pandya. Bye, Venkatesh Iyer. Buy any other all-rounder you think you're going to get over here.
This man hates himself some Iyer.
I'm just saying. Seriously? You're going to compare Venkatesh Iyer to Jadeja or to Hardik Pandya? Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I'm so impressed with Hardik Pandya, Nick. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. There's 2 guys that the West Indies, and people are going to laugh at me right now. I know India is probably going to win. People like probably, Gabe. West Indies are going to be facing India, okay? But if I'm the West Indies, all right? I'm circling 2 guys that I am not letting beat me, and we've got to just develop a plan. How do we take this guy down? How do we avoid this guy? One is Boomerang. We cannot let a guy come in here and get a 6-wicket haul on us or a 5-wicket haul. If it's surviving his overs, it's surviving his overs. But if I go out there and the West Indies get, a hat trick on the Boomer over, I'm going to lose my mind, Nick. I'm going to lose my mind, all right? Anyone but him, all right? Plan for it, all right? Circle his name, because you know he's coming. And the other guy is Hardik Pandya, because he could beat you with the bat or he could beat you with the ball. Those are the 2 guys that the West Indies absolutely have to plan for.
Hardik Pandya not only was a player of the series in, I can't remember which one of the series. The guy had at least 2 half centuries and 2 4-wicket hauls. in the matches he played in. I mean, if you're anyone else, you're like, oh, thank goodness Kohli's come back down to earth. India's not as scary. Really? Hardik Pandya? Really? Don't forget, as terrible as Rohit was in the IPL, this ain't the IPL, baby. This guy is captain his side, and this guy's only lost one T20 match out of like 15 or so since he took over captain. And he's leading as an opener in most of the situations. Him and Dewan alone chased the 110. The ODI match was absolutely beautiful. Shout out to Dewan. Good to see him back with the squad. But it's those two guys. You're absolutely right. You can't. It's a Bill Belichick thing. Don't let their best guys beat us. Can't do it. But if you contain them, Pont's got a century in his back pocket, right? Sky's got a century in his back pocket. Shahal's got a 4-wicket haul. Boovy's got a 3 or 4-wicket haul. I mean, you cannot. You can only hope to contain them. You cannot eliminate them. You can't run. You can't hide. They have guys on benches that can probably score a half century, for crying out loud. I mean,
it only circle 2 names on the board. How many names do you want me to circle on the board? They can only circle 2 names.
It is insane. And if anything from this series for India, if you're an India fan, you needed something like this. I get it. If you hate India, what are you talking about? They're always winning. South Africa slapped them at home and on the road, for crying out loud.
Indeed.
This is and this is again an England side, the Test side. They swept New Zealand, for crying out loud, right? And they struggled with India. This showed the whole world that India is not going anywhere, that they have a lot of guys who are coming back from exhaustion, from injury, whatever it is, family issues. A lot of guys are in form. And the crazy thing about the 4 matches they won is, besides Hardik Pandya and Bumrah, good call on that, it was like a different guy every time playing that supportive role to win the match or to win the match, for crying out loud. I mean, they had no business winning that one match they lost against England in the T20 match. Sky almost alone helped them win that match when they had no business chasing the 220 or 217 or whatever.
Right.
If I'm anyone else, I'm terrified. If I'm the West Indies, it's like, yeah, I may just turn my phone off for the next few weeks. And I'm not calling, I'm not busting Dr. Jihan. Don't worry. I'm not whitewash. Yeah. Who are they playing? Doesn't matter. Whitewash, right? I'm not calling that. I have respect for the West Indies. But
it's scary.
Nick, I've seen some of the recent games.
4 out of 6 without anything from Kohli. I think Kohli might have gotten a 30 or 40.
I looked it up. He got 43 runs in the 4 matches he played.
I mean, literally. So, I mean, could you just imagine if they had gotten anything at all out of Kohli? You beat what was the number 1 team in the world, which is not a number 2 team in the world, 4 out of 6 at home, and you practically got nothing out of Virat Kohli. He basically averaged 10 runs a game is what he averaged, 43 over 4. Could you imagine if Kohli had actually showed up? Bro, it's scary.
Yes, please.
I'm not going to lie. I'm worried as a West Indies fan. But you know what? We've got some guys that can bang. We got some guys that can put up scores. And honestly, our ODI squad, our Test squad is fine. Our T20 squad puts in work. Our ODI squad, Nick, it could get ugly. It could get ugly. Oh, it could get ugly. Oh, gosh, it could get ugly. So I've got something that there's not going to be a whitewash, simply because I think our Test squad and our actually, I don't think they're playing Test, right? It's just going to be white ball, if I'm not mistaken, or there might be a Test or 2 in there. I can't remember, but I know for sure.
I don't think there's any Test. I think you're right the first time.
It's just ODI and T20. So I have faith in our T20 squad that the whitewash ain't gonna happen. We might even win that match, that part of the series. But the ODI side, oh daddy. See,
no Test match, but 5 T20 matches. Ooh.
The SEALs better show up. We need the bowling to show up. The night watchman needs to show up, because listen, the one thing we know is that India can hit, cousin. So we got to take those wickets, man. But I mean, those are my thoughts. Again, I just want to come in here and join Nick, because it was a pretty big series. We streamed 2 or 3 of the games in between, 4, I can't remember. And like, I'm watching it and I'm like loving it, because I got nothing, nothing to mention in the game. I'm good. Right now, Nick's stressing on one side, man, England, oh man, India, oh, I was good. Now this next series coming up, is it gonna be rough, bro? There was one match where was it? Where England lost like 3 wickets in the first 2-3 overs in the power play. And we were like, yep, you never want to use 3 wickets in the power play. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that was the first match. Yeah.
and I'm just laughing and I'm like, okay, but that could probably happen to my West Indies easily, bro. And I'm just like, oh gosh. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta face this squad. So I wanted to come out and get my thoughts before the juggernaut comes to town, because I won't be in as jovial a mood when I'm reviewing or recapping the West Indies versus India.
Now, let's say that West Indies does show up at home, so it's not going to be an easy row for India. But I want to talk about England. We talked a lot about India. Let me talk about England here for a little bit. First of all, the news came out a day or two ago. Ben Stokes retired from ODI. He's only on the ODI side. And good for him. He's going to go down as a champion, his last ODI World Cup. But and I don't think he's like waiting till after this next. Like, he's just done. And that's tough for England because you have the Butlers, you know, typically. You have the Bairstow, now rooting the ODI side, the test side. You have, oh gosh, I know I'm forgetting someone right now. But you have those core guys that are going to score you some runs, Jason Roy, I guess.
Right.
But it's like you have your top level talent, and then you have like the 50 feet of crap, and then you have everyone else trying to get a spot, right? It's really tough. The thing I loved about this tour, though, I must say for England's side, is the bowlers I did not know existed that showed up. I don't know anything about Topley, for crying out loud. He showed up. For some reason, they hate my man, Captain England, because he didn't show up at all. He's not in South Africa as far as I know. But you had Gleason show up for one match. You had Chris Jordan show up for one match. And you had a lot of the wicket takers, the bowlers, get 1 or 2 wickets in most of the matches. And that was good to see. Someone like Gabe always jokes around about not having a spinner. Well, you don't really need a lot of spinners when they're in England, right? I think India only rocked with Jadeja in some of the matches as their only spinner, and he's an all-rounder, for crying out loud. But I was impressed with England's change of roster. The crazy thing is England is still, I think, 1-2 in both T20 and ODI. They're 2 in T20, and they're 2, in ODI. So it's not like, and that's another crazy thing about the switch with Mott or whatever, and this bad series they had at home against India, because that's top-level talent, and you're able to hold your own. That really sucks. That really hurts. But you had some performances from guys that you want to see performances. Like Gabe said, you know, can Bairstow translate it into the other formats? He did really, really well in some of those matches as well. And now they got a tough task against South Africa. Like I said, they lost the first match. South Africa put up a huge score, but England can hold their own. We're hoping that Josh Butler can turn around, because honestly, if the tour in South Africa is almost as like the tour India had in England, he may not be there as a captain for too long, for crying out loud. He really might not. And one interesting thought, I don't think he would ever do it because he just got taken away as a captain for tests. But it'd be interesting to see, as they're getting ready for this World Cup coming up not too long from now, do they want to make a change if Josh Butler's not working out and say, hey, Root, can you just take us to a championship? Can you take us to another World Cup title just for one last hurrah? I don't think that would happen, but it'll be interesting to find out.
Nick, let me ask you a question. And I mean, these are my final thoughts. I said final thoughts a minute, but the minute you mentioned that, again, maybe it's funny how two people can interpret things differently. I see the Ben Stokes situation once again reaffirming the fact that England is now focusing on test, because Ben Stokes, his weakest format, first and foremost, isn't ODI. It's T20, excuse me. Is his weakest format. So if he was going to retire from one, it would probably make sense to retire from T20. Second of all of a sudden, now he chooses to retire from ODI. He's the guy that got the winning runs for them to win the championship. Does everybody forget the
inadvertent ball off the bat?
But he was at the strike. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this guy, T20 is his weakest format. He should, like Nick, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But if all of a sudden you see guys, Bairstow, no excuse why he wasn't there on this last trip. Now we're losing Stokes from the ODI side, all right? And you start seeing more and more chips being pulled. England is not India. They're not that deep that they can rock 3 different squads, okay? You know what I mean? It just shows me that, back to Owen Morgan's point, in England, and this is coming from the guy that was the ODI captain that brought them a championship, in England, they prioritize or tend to prioritize one format more over another, and usually it's test over limited overs.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I'm trying to bring up the player rankings for ODI and for T20, but my internet's going really slow, or this website's going really slow because I want to see. Yeah, Ben Stokes is not in the top 10 for ODI. He's not in the top 10 for Test. I was just, I mean, maybe I'm looking at the wrong side because he is an all rounder, and I'm not being too smart there. But he's as far as T20, he's definitely not in the top 10. That's interesting. I did not know this. Muhammad Nabi is number 1 ranked right now in T20 for all rounder. That really surprised me. I'm not gonna lie. So I was wrong. Ben Stokes is ranked number 7 because he's the all rounder, not the batter side for ODI. It's the only format that he's in the top 10 that I could see, all rounder or not. And I'll have to double check once again for Test. But it's interesting that that's the format. But I kind of get it. No, I'm sorry. He's ranked number 5. I looked the wrong side for all-rounder for Test as well. So to your point, that's his better format. And like you said, T20 was his least favorite, his least format he's great at. ODI, I get it because it's a long day, but it's 1 day. It's 1 day international. So really interesting. Comment below. Let us know why he retired. Is it just too much? We know he's got some family stuff that he was coming off of a few years ago or a few months ago. But he's in really great form. He's top 5, top 7 in 2 of the 3 formats. Really impressive there. Let us know your thoughts, what we missed. What did you notice about this? I feel like this is a great series for India. This is a horrible series for England, besides seeing some players get to play. Very disastrous, really, because at home you want to take care of business. But with all that being said, thanks so much for listening to us. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.
That's 6 runs.